Welcome to today's Transformation Dive. Ever feel like your phone holds a secret, horrifying app? One that you know is there, maybe even tucked away in a seldom-used folder, but just looking at the icon sends a shiver down your spine. For many, that app isn't some glitchy horror game or a notification from that one person. It's your banking app. It sits there, a digital Pandora's box you're sure holds only bad news. And opening it feels less like checking your balance and more like attempting to defuse a bomb with blurry instructions. You know you should look, but the dread feels paralyzing. This isn't about shame. It's about a feeling many of us know intimately. The sense that money has a mind of its own, that it slips through your fingers like water, and no matter how much comes in, there's never quite enough, or you just don't know where it goes. We're here to change that feeling from dread to direction, to move from reacting to money, to actively directing it. If you're ready to ditch the flinch and step into clarity, you're in the right place. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You open your banking app and flinch. Maybe you've become a ninja at swiping past it on your home screen. Or perhaps you only brave it when absolutely necessary, like right before payday, just to confirm things are truly, terrifyingly low. It's that cold dread that washes over you, the visceral reaction to facing the numbers. You've been avoiding it, days turning into weeks, the icon on your phone mocking you gently with its presence. This isn't a unique struggle. It's a silent epidemic of financial avoidance. You see others seemingly in control, talking about investments, savings goals, perhaps even casually mentioning their crypto portfolio. And you're still playing catch-up, desperately wondering where last month's paycheck vanished. Was it those coffees? That online shopping spree you barely remember? Or did the money just evaporate into the digital ether? It feels like everyone else got a rulebook you somehow missed. Maybe you're a student surviving on ramen and wonder if finance classes are just designed to make you feel dumb, the jargon flying over your head faster than a free pizza delivery. Or perhaps you're a mid-career professional with a decent salary, but somehow bills, subscriptions you forgot you signed up for, thanks free trial, and impulse buys eat it all up before you can blink. It's like your bank account is a sieve, constantly draining, no matter how much you pour in. Even if you're an ambitious builder, launching a side hustle, seeing revenue come in, the personal finances feel messier than ever, a tangled ball of threads you don't know how to untangle. This pervasive feeling of financial chaos is exhausting. It's the sense that you are constantly reacting to money, putting out fires, rather than directing it with purpose. It feels like your money is the boss of you. The first, and perhaps most crucial myth we need to bust right here, right now, that this chaos is normal, inevitable, or that fixing it requires some complex financial wizardry only accessible to Wall Street gurus, or worse, a massive inheritance. It doesn't. Absolutely not. The cause of this flinch, this chaos, this feeling of helplessness isn't a lack of complex knowledge or a need for a windfall. It's the effect of a fundamental disconnection from your money, a lack of intentionality, and most importantly, avoidance. The surprising fact, gaining control isn't about mastering spreadsheets or predicting the stock market. It's about simple awareness and small, consistent actions. It just requires a fundamental shift in how you relate to your money, starting with facing it. This leads to our first core concept, our first decision point, the decision to look. To actively, intentionally choose to open that app. Not to judge yourself, not to spiral into panic, but simply to see, to gather information. Think of it like stepping onto the scale at the gym after avoiding it for months. The number might not be what you hoped for, but seeing it is the absolute prerequisite for creating a plan to change it. You can't navigate if you don't know where you are. So here's a simple prompt for action, a habit that truly can change everything. Try this for a week. Open your banking app for just 1 minute every single morning. Don't try to calculate anything or make decisions. Just open it, look at the main balance, and close it. See how it feels. Ask yourself, what emotion comes up when I look? Is it fear? Shame? Confusion? Simply noticing that feeling without judgment is the first step towards taking your power back from the flinch. This one habit, this tiny act of facing the numbers, however uncomfortable, is the foundation for building financial peace and growth. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. Right now, maybe you feel like you're living in money's slipstream. What does that even mean? It's that weird, unsettling feeling that your money arrives, maybe on payday, maybe from a client invoice. You touch it for a second, you handle the absolute essentials, rent, mortgage, maybe a few critical bills, and then, poof, it's just gone, vanished into thin air. You tell yourself, logically, that it went to stuff. It went to living. It went to necessities. But if you were brutally honest, you couldn't actually account for a significant chunk of it. It's like it passed you at high speed and you only felt the turbulent air behind it. This feeling of being swept along by your finances, reacting constantly rather than directing, isn't some rare affliction. Trust me, this is the default state for most people who haven't actively fought against it. You have income flowing in. You have expenses flowing out. And in between those 2 points is this frustrating, sometimes terrifying, black hole of uncertainty. Where did it all go? Did tiny money gnomes sneak in and steal the rest? Probably not, but it feels that way. Think about it. You tell yourself you'll finally start saving next month. You mark it on your calendar, feel a little surge of financial optimism. But then, life happens. An unexpected car repair pops up. Or maybe it's less dramatic. Just a really strong urge for takeout every night because you're tired. Or a spontaneous weekend trip with friends. Suddenly, the money you earmarked mentally for saving is gone. Not spent on disaster necessarily, but just absorbed by the flow of life without conscious direction. You're in the slipstream, being pulled along. Here's the really surprising insight, the myth bust that changes everything. This feeling of being out of control with your money, this sense that it's just slipping through your fingers, isn't primarily a result of not having enough money. Yes, having more money can definitely make things easier. Nobody's denying that. But the feeling of being out of control is fundamentally a result of not having enough information, and crucially, not taking ownership of where it goes. It's like trying to get fit without ever weighing yourself or tracking what you eat. You can work out all you want, but if you're also demolishing a family-sized pizza every night, you won't see the progress, and you won't know why. The problem isn't necessarily that you're eating, that's the expenses, but that you don't know what you're eating or how much. That's the lack of information and ownership. You're just in the slipstream of your appetite. When you lack information about where your money is actually going, you have no data to make informed decisions. You can't identify the leaks in your financial bucket. And when you don't take ownership, when you blame external factors or just shrug and say, "That's just how it is," you surrender your power to change it. You stay stuck in the slipstream. So the clear, immediate personal action for you right now, before you try to budget or save or invest, is incredibly simple, but profoundly powerful. Acknowledge the feeling of financial chaos without judgment. Just admit it, openly or just to yourself. I don't know exactly where my money goes. Try this for a week. Every time you feel that slipstream sensation, just pause and acknowledge the lack of clarity. Don't try to fix it yet. Just admit the unknown. This one simple admission is the first step out of the slipstream and into the driver's seat. The cost of not knowing. People often joke that ignorance is bliss, right? You don't know, so you don't worry. But let's be real. In the world of personal finance, ignorance isn't bliss at all. It's just expensive. It's not just about the money you lose, though that's a huge part of it. It costs you your peace of mind. It costs you opportunities that pass you by. And yes, it costs you actual dollars that could be working hard for you, growing, building wealth. Think of your finances like a house with leaky pipes. If you don't know where the leaks are, you can't fix them. Money is just silently dripping away, day after day. You can't plug the leaks if you refuse to look at the plumbing. This is why knowing where your money is going is fundamentally critical. When you avoid looking at your bank statements, your credit card bills, or tracking your spending, you're essentially blindfolding yourself while trying to navigate a minefield. You can't identify the spending that doesn't actually align with what you truly value, or the goals you're trying to reach. Maybe you're spending hundreds a month on convenience foods when you dream of saving for a down payment. You only see this when you look. And because you can't see the leaks, you can't find that extra cash flow that's hiding in plain sight. Money you could be using to invest, to build up an emergency fund, or to pay down high-interest debt much faster. Think about those subscription services. Maybe you signed up for a free trial months ago, intended to cancel, but totally forgot. That's money bleeding out of your account every single month, silently, relentlessly. It feels small in the moment, maybe $10 or $20 here and there, but those drips add up to a flood over time. It's like forgetting to turn off a faucet that's draining your bathtub. You'll never fill it up if you don't stop the waste. Here's the surprising insight, and it's crucial. The psychological cost of not knowing, the anxiety that bubbles up when you think about your finances, the avoidance tactics you use to not look, the feeling of being stuck or overwhelmed because you don't know where to start. This mental burden is often heavier than the pure financial cost. And worse, these two costs feed each other. The anxiety makes you avoid looking, and the avoidance ensures the financial problems persist, creating more anxiety. It's a vicious cycle, a financial and emotional feedback loop that keeps you stuck. You might tell yourself, "I just don't have enough money," but the real problem is often, "I don't know what I have, where it goes, or what I could do." The clear personal action here is simple, but not necessarily easy. Identify one specific area of your finances you currently actively avoid looking at. Maybe it's your credit card statement because you don't want to see the balance. Maybe it's your savings account because you're scared of how little is in it. Maybe it's just logging into your investment account. Pick just one area you shrink away from. Now, ask yourself, why? What fear, discomfort, or belief is stopping you from looking directly at the numbers. This simple question is the first step to breaking the cycle and turning the lights on in that dark room of your finances. Here's the truth nobody wants to hear. More money won't fix chaos. It's a pervasive myth, a dangerous lie we tell ourselves. You genuinely believe that if you just got that raise, if your business suddenly exploded, or yes, if you hit that miraculous lottery jackpot, all your financial problems would magically vanish. The stress? Gone. The bills? Easy. You picture this serene financial landscape where everything is just better because the number in the bank is bigger. But this is precisely where people get trapped. It's like believing that buying a faster car will make you a better driver, or that getting more ingredients will magically make you a master chef without a recipe or basic knife skills. You just end up with more expensive crashes or a bigger mess in the kitchen. The surprising and frankly often painful insight: more money injected into a system without control simply amplifies the existing chaos. It doesn't patch the holes. It just pours more water into a leaky bucket. The money rushes in faster, yes, but it also rushes out faster, often into bigger, harder-to-notice leaks because you have a false sense of security. Think about the classic example: the lottery winner who is broke within a few years. They had plenty of money, arguably more than they ever dreamed of, but without a system, without discipline, without understanding, it evaporated. Another incredibly common scenario is lifestyle creep. You get a significant raise, maybe an extra $1,000 a month. You think, great, freedom, but almost immediately, your spending inflates to meet that new income level. You buy a slightly nicer car, eat out more often, upgrade your phone annually. Before you know it, you're spending that extra $1,000, maybe even more, and you're just as stressed, just as paycheck to paycheck as before. The raise didn't fix the underlying behavior or system problem. It just gave the existing bad habits more fuel. It's the financial equivalent of getting a fancy new gym membership but never changing your diet. You're putting in effort, but the fundamental issues remain, often hidden beneath the surface. This challenges common thinking head-on. We're conditioned to focus on increasing income as the primary solution to financial struggles. While increasing income is absolutely part of a healthy financial strategy, it's often the secondary lever, not the first. The primary lever is gaining control over what you already have. Understanding where your money is going, making conscious decisions about spending, and building a simple system for saving and investing is the foundation. Without that foundation, any amount of money you pile on top is unstable. It's like building a mansion on sand. It looks impressive for a while, but eventually it crumbles. Here's a clear personal action to try. Challenge that deeply ingrained belief that your financial problems are only about the amount of money you have. It's uncomfortable because it shifts the focus from an external factor, needing more income, to an internal one, managing what you have. Ask yourself this: if you woke up tomorrow with an unexpected $10,000, how would you manage it? Would you have a clear, written plan for that money, allocating it to specific goals like debt repayment, saving, or investing? Or would it likely just disappear over the next few months into stuff and increased expenses? This one habit, forcing yourself to think about managing windfalls, can reveal a lot about your underlying financial system, or lack thereof. Realizing that more money wouldn't automatically solve your problems is the crucial first step towards building a system that can handle wealth when it arrives, ensuring it amplifies your freedom, not your chaos. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here at Earn Flow Zone. Let's be brutally honest for a second. Most people treat their finances like that dusty box of random cables in the back of a closet. You know they're important someday, maybe for something, but you avoid looking too closely because it feels overwhelming, tangled, and honestly, a little embarrassing. We spend more time curating our social media feeds than we do reviewing our bank statements. It's a bizarre reality, isn't it? We crave financial freedom, the ability to travel, save, invest, live without that nagging stress. Yet we often delegate the actual management of our money to autopilot, hoping for the best. It's like wanting to run a marathon, but refusing to put on running shoes or, actually run. The disconnect is huge, and it keeps countless people stuck in a cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck living. Unexpected bills feeling like personal attacks, and dreams staying firmly in the realm of maybe someday. But what if the path to real financial peace and growth isn't about some secret stock tip or winning the lottery? What if it starts with a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in relation to your money? That's exactly what we're exploring today. We're going to peel back the layers on a concept so powerful it can redefine your entire financial trajectory. Before we jump in, if you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that cuts through the noise, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think and keeps this community growing. Also, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win so far. I love hearing your stories. Okay, let's dive in and change the way you think about success, starting with a critical step. All right, let's get into Section 5, a concept so fundamental it feels almost too simple. Yet it's the bedrock of financial empowerment, stepping into radical ownership. Forget everything you've been told about needing a massive income boost or a secret financial guru to fix your money problems. While earning more is fantastic, and we'll definitely talk about that, the true antidote to financial chaos, that feeling of being tossed around by bills and unexpected expenses, isn't a bigger paycheck. It's taking radical ownership of your money. So, what exactly does radical ownership mean in the context of your personal finances? Think of yourself not as a tenant in your financial life, just paying rent and hoping the roof doesn't leak, but as the absolute owner of the entire property. It means recognizing, deeply and without reservation, that every single dollar that enters your life, and crucially, every single dollar that leaves it, is your responsibility. You are not just involved with your money. You are the CEO of your personal economy. This isn't about blaming yourself for past mistakes or feeling guilty about your current situation. Absolutely not. This is about agency. It's about shifting from being a passive passenger clinging on for dear life on the money roller coaster to being the skilled conductor deciding when to speed up, slow down, and where the ride is even going. Let's make this concrete with a relatable example. Most people get bills in the mail or via email and just pay them. It feels like an unavoidable chore. But radical ownership means that instead of just passively hitting pay on that utility bill, you actively review it. You check the meter reading. You compare it to last month's usage. You look for potential errors. You might even call the company to understand a spike or proactively look for competitor rates. You're not just receiving a service and paying. You are managing that expense. Another example, that impulse purchase. Owning your money means not just swiping the card because it feels good in the moment, but pausing, acknowledging the impulse, and deciding if that aligns with your financial goals. You are the gatekeeper. Here's the surprising insight, the kind of truth bomb that challenges common thinking. This shift in mindset, from passive recipient to active owner, is the single most powerful financial tool you possess. Think about that. It costs absolutely nothing to decide, I am in charge here. $0. But the potential upside? It unlocks everything. It empowers you to look at a budget not as a restriction, but as a roadmap you designed. It turns saving from a chore into intentional progress towards a goal you set. It transforms debt from a crushing burden into a challenge you have the power to strategically tackle. People often underestimate the sheer power of internal locus of control when it comes to money. They look for external solutions, a better job, a windfall, when the most impactful change starts within. This isn't just theory, it's a habit shift. It requires conscious effort at first, but the clear personal action you can take right now is simple but profound. Say it out loud to yourself, perhaps looking in a mirror. I am the owner of my money. This isn't just an affirmation. It's a declaration of independence from financial chaos, a commitment to taking the reins. Try saying it every morning for a week, and notice how it subtly shifts your perspective before you even check your bank balance. Ask yourself, what's stopping you from truly believing and acting like the owner of your finances? This one habit of declaring and embodying ownership changed everything for me, moving from feeling controlled by money to feeling in control of it. It's your turn to step into that power. So, we've talked about stepping into radical ownership, recognizing yourself as the CEO of your personal economy. This isn't just about tactics. It's a foundational belief shift. And like building any strong foundation, it requires consistent attention and reinforcement. Taking radical ownership isn't a one-time event. It's a muscle you build. It's about making conscious decisions, even small ones, every day. It's in the moments you choose to review your bank statement instead of ignoring it, when you track an expense instead of letting it disappear into the ether, or when you pause before an impulse buy and ask, is this truly what I, the CEO of Earnflow Zone Inc., that's you, want my company's resources allocated to? The long-term benefit of this radical ownership is profound. It's not just about having more money in the bank, although that is a very welcome outcome. It's about peace of mind. It's about removing that low-grade hum of financial anxiety that plagues so many. It's about building confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way, because you know you are actively managing your situation, not just reacting to it. When you own your money, you stop feeling like a victim of circumstances and start feeling like the architect of your future. You gain clarity, purpose, and the power to make your money work for the life you want to build. A deeper insight here is that discipline with money isn't deprivation. It's self-respect. It's honoring your future self by making smart choices today. Radical ownership is the engine of that self-respect, fueling the discipline that leads to freedom. It requires looking at your money unapologetically, understanding its flow, and directing it with intention. Remember, the goal isn't perfection from day one. It's progress. It's showing up, taking responsibility, and making conscious choices, even when they're hard. Every small act of ownership builds momentum. In the end, Your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. Okay, so you're ready to shift things, right? You're feeling that pull towards greater control, more flow in your finances. But wanting it and doing it are two wildly different ballgames, aren't they? People often wish for a different outcome without truly understanding the game they're currently playing. You can't win if you don't know the score or where the other team is on the field. This brings us to perhaps the most crucial, often skipped, foundational step in personal finance, in radical ownership, in truly building your earn flow zone. It's simple, almost painfully simple, but profound. The first step, see everything. This isn't just a catchy title. It's the absolute non-negotiable starting point. You cannot control what you cannot see, period. It's like trying to lose weight without stepping on a scale or tracking your intake. You're operating blind, relying on guesswork and hope, which are terrible financial strategies. The true, unvarnished first step is knowing where your money actually goes, not where you think it goes based on your good intentions, or where you wish it went according to your budget dreams, but the cold, hard, unadorned reality of its journey from your account to, well, everywhere else. Think about it. How many times have you looked at your bank balance at the end of the month and thought, where did it all go? It's one of the most common laments. The money just evaporates. But money doesn't evaporate. It flows. It flows out of your control, usually into things you've completely forgotten about or consciously glossed over. That's where tracking comes in. I mean every single purchase, no matter how trivial it feels in the moment. That coffee run, the vending machine snack, the small in-app purchase that seemed like just a couple of bucks, the delivery fee for takeout, everything. It's the financial equivalent of tracking every crumb you eat. Sounds tedious? Maybe. Life-changing? Absolutely. And here's the truly surprising insight. The game changer people consistently underestimate. Simply the act of tracking often changes your spending behavior automatically. Seriously. You become hyper-conscious because you know you have to record it. Suddenly, that impulse buy feels different when you know you have to log it later. It shines a harsh, sometimes hilarious light on your unconscious habits. You might discover you're spending more on subscriptions than you thought, or that your daily coffee adds up to a significant amount over a month. It's like holding a mirror up to your financial self, and sometimes that reflection is surprising, maybe even a little awkward. Wait, I bought another plant? This consciousness isn't about judgment. It's about data. It's like getting an accurate diagnosis from a doctor or seeing your actual performance stats as an athlete. With that data, you can finally start to make informed decisions. Without it, you're just guessing. So here is your clear, non-negotiable personal action step, your entry point into radical ownership. Choose a method. It can be as simple as a small notebook and a pen, a basic spreadsheet on your computer, or one of the many excellent free budgeting apps available. Find what feels least intimidating for you. Then commit to tracking every single dollar you spend for the next 3 days. Set a reminder. Keep the notebook in your pocket, the app on your home screen. No exceptions, no excuses, no judgment on the spending itself, just pure data collection. Log it all. Try this for just 3 days. See everything. This one habit, this simple act of observing, truly can change everything for you. Okay, so you've done the thing. You've committed to tracking your spending for a few days. maybe a week, or even a full month if you're feeling brave. You've diligently logged those purchases, maybe a little sheepishly, into your app or spreadsheet. And now comes the moment of truth. You open up that data, ready to see what your money has been up to when you weren't explicitly telling it what to do. This is where many people hit a wall, the moment they actually have to face the numbers without flinching. It can feel incredibly confronting, almost like standing naked in front of a mirror under harsh lighting. You see the undeniable truth. How much vanished on impulse buys you can't even remember. The shocking total spent on streaming services you barely use, or that almost comical amount dedicated to takeout and food delivery. You might experience a wave of shame, regret, or even embarrassment. A classic, brutally relatable example. Realizing you spent more just on getting food delivered in a single month than you did on buying actual groceries to cook at home. Ouch! It's easy to let that sink in and feel defeated, like you failed some invisible test of financial responsibility. Your inner critic has a field day. Look how much you wasted. You're terrible with money. Here's the surprising, liberating insight that completely changes this moment. This data is not a report card on your worth as a human being. It is not a judgment of your character. It's just information, period. Think of it less like a disciplinary meeting and more like a diagnostic report from a mechanic. It's not saying you're a bad driver. It's saying your tires are worn and you have a small oil leak. This financial data is simply a map showing you precisely where your money chose to go when you weren't consciously directing it. It's the flow of your money under current conditions, revealing the actual path it took, not the one you hoped it took or thought it took. This information is incredibly powerful. Its cause-effect clarity is profound. The cause is tracking your spending. The effect is gaining irrefutable knowledge about your financial habits. This knowledge frees you entirely from the frustrating guessing game. You stop wondering where your money went or why you feel like you should have more left at the end of the month. You have facts. You have evidence. You have a tangible starting point for making actual change. It takes the abstract feeling of "I don't have enough" or "I should be better with money" and turns it into concrete, actionable details. So, what's the clear, non-negotiable personal action right here, right now? It's simple, but requires courage. Look at your tracked spending data honestly. Give yourself permission to see it exactly as it is, without assigning blame or judgment to yourself. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, and you should, is to identify your top 3 to 5 spending categories. This is the first, fundamental step to truly understanding your specific money flow, your unique financial landscape. Don't get bogged down in tiny details yet. Just see the big buckets. Is it housing, food, transportation, entertainment, miscellaneous? Whatever they are, identify them. Try this honest review today. This simple act of seeing your reality is the cornerstone upon which all future financial growth is built. Okay, so you've stepped up. You've faced the numbers, maybe winced a little, maybe even celebrated a small victory. You know where your money went last month. That's detective work. And honestly, most people don't even get that far. But here's the plot twist, the real level up. Ownership isn't just about knowing the past. It's about consciously designing the future. It's about deciding exactly where that money will go before it even arrives. This is where you seize conscious control and become the architect of your financial life, not just a passenger. Based on the tracking data you've gathered, Those stark realities laid bare in categories like groceries, entertainment, bills, impulse buys. Oh, the impulse buys. You now have the fuel to make intentional, powerful choices. This is where the word budget comes in, and I want you to immediately ditch any mental image of a financial straitjacket designed purely to make you miserable. That's a myth we need to bust right now. Maybe you saw, perhaps with a slight blush, that a significant chunk of change evaporated on spontaneous coffees, online shopping when you were bored, or those just because treats. Knowing that is step one. Deciding is step two, and it looks like this. You look at that impulse spending category and say, okay, that felt good in the moment, but it didn't really move me towards my goal of, say, finally paying off that credit card debt or saving for that dreamy down payment. So you decide to allocate a specific smaller amount for fun money each month, your guilt-free zone for coffees or small treats. The rest, you consciously redirect it. Give it a mission: debt repayment, high-yield savings, investing. You are actively commanding your funds, not just watching them scatter like dandelion seeds in the wind. Here's the surprising insight, the part that flips the script entirely. Giving your money a job before the month even begins is profoundly liberating. It sounds counterintuitive, right? More rules, more freedom? But it's true. It removes decision fatigue. Every time you reach for your wallet or click Add to Cart, you don't have to have an internal debate. The decision has already been made, strategically, aligned with your goals. The guilt fades away because that fun money was allocated specifically for that purpose, or the money for the spontaneous purchase is simply not there because it's already earmarked for your debt or savings goal. It's like pre-gaming your finances. You've already decided who gets drafted onto your financial dream team for the month. The clear, personal action for you right now, building directly on the tracking work you've done, is this. Based on the categories you tracked last month, create a simple plan for next month. Open up a spreadsheet, grab a notebook, whatever works for you. How much money do you anticipate having? Now, how much will you intentionally allocate to each category? How much for housing, groceries, utilities, transportation? And critically, how much will you decide goes towards debt repayment, savings, or investing first? How much for that guilt-free, fun money? This isn't a rigid prison sentence. It's your first conscious budget, a plan you've built yourself, reflecting your priorities and values. Try this for next month. Simply give every dollar an assignment before you even spend it. See how that shift feels. All right, so we've talked about mastering the outflow, how you spend your money. That's a huge step, the foundation. But radical financial ownership, the kind that truly transforms your future, isn't limited to just how you spend. Welcome to the next level, ownership beyond spending. This is where you start looking at the entire financial ecosystem you live in, not just the part where money leaves your wallet. It extends crucially to how you earn, how you save, and how you manage debt. Think of it like training for a marathon. You might start by cleaning up your diet. That's like managing spending. But to run the race, you also need structured training plans, earning more strategically, proper rest and recovery, saving consistently, and managing injuries, tackling debt. For the beginner, taking ownership beyond spending might simply mean sitting down and actively understanding the terms of your student loans or credit card interest rates. What are the repayment options? What's the real cost over time? Just knowing the numbers gives you power. For the mid-earner who feels stuck, this could mean shifting focus from saving pennies to boosting dollars earned. This involves researching your market rate with actual data and confidently negotiating your salary. It means truly understanding your workplace benefits, diving into your 401k options, understanding vesting schedules, or exploring HSA benefits. It's not just abstract knowledge, it's taking the levers that are available to you and deciding how you want to pull them. It can feel awkward at first, like asking someone on a first date. You might stammer a bit, but the data is your wingman here. You're presenting a value proposition based on numbers, not just wishing for more money. For the ambitious builder, perhaps someone with a side hustle or a growing business, ownership beyond spending is non-negotiable. It's about the critical, often overlooked step of rigorously separating business and personal finances. It's setting up dedicated business accounts, understanding business taxes, and crucially, paying yourself an intentional, regular salary, rather than just siphoning off funds whenever you need them. It sounds basic, but you'd be surprised how many people skip this, treating their business like a personal piggy bank. Here's the genuinely surprising insight, and it's a core principle at Earn Flow Zone. Taking ownership in one specific area of your finances, even something seemingly small, like meticulously tracking a spending category, often creates a powerful momentum and builds the confidence needed to take ownership in other, bigger areas. That feeling of control you get from managing your spending, that spills over. It makes you feel capable of tackling debt repayment strategies, researching investment options, or yes, even asking for that raise you deserve based on your value and the numbers you need for your plan. Control doesn't just feel good. Control breeds more control. So here's a clear personal action step for you right now. Identify just one area beyond your spending where you could take more active control this week. Maybe it's reviewing your bank statements for sneaky fees you didn't know about. Perhaps it's checking your credit report for accuracy. Don't worry, just checking it won't hurt your score. Or maybe it's committing to learning just one new thing about investing, what an ETF is, or the power of compound interest. Prompt for action. Try this for a week. Focus on understanding just one non-spending financial lever in your life. What one thing could you truly own? Okay, let's dive into the core of this section. Section 1. Now let's talk about something profound that often gets overlooked when we focus purely on numbers. You might be tracking your spending, building a budget, maybe even starting to invest. And while you see those numbers shifting, there's an unseen return on investment, a different kind of paycheck that delivers something far more valuable than just dollar signs. We're calling this the unseen paycheck. It doesn't show up in your bank account balance, at least not immediately, but it pays dividends in peace of mind. This is the quiet reward that comes from taking radical ownership of your financial life. Think about it. Knowing exactly where your money is, where it's going, and that you have a plan, even if that plan is just the next step, is incredibly powerful. It's like finally getting a clear map instead of wandering in the financial wilderness. The anxiety around checking your banking app starts to fade. Remember that knot in your stomach before opening it? That starts to loosen. Unexpected expenses, those curveballs life loves to throw, become manageable bumps in the road, not catastrophic disasters that send you spiraling, because you know you have a cushion, or at the very least, a clear plan to address them. It's the difference between trying to run a marathon on pure hope versus having trained, fueled up, and knowing your route. A relatable example: instead of lying awake at 3 a.m. worrying about upcoming bills, playing mental gymnastics with due dates and minimum payments, You look at your budget, and there it is. You've already allocated funds for them. It feels calm. That feeling, that's the unseen paycheck arriving. It's not about having millions. It's about having control. And here's the surprising insight, the myth bust. Financial confidence isn't about being rich. It's about being in control. People chase wealth thinking it will bring peace. But true, sustainable peace comes from mastery over your resources, not just the quantity of them. That feeling of control is more valuable than any lottery win could ever be, because it's sustainable, it's self-generated, and it compounds over time, building resilience within you. It's like building financial muscle. It makes you stronger, not just heavier. This mastery isn't instant, but the feeling it brings is addictive in the best way. It makes the effort worthwhile. It's the quiet hum of a well-tuned engine, compared to the sputtering cough of one running on fumes and crossed fingers. Here's a clear personal action for you. Reflect on a time, any time at all, where you felt financially secure or in control, even if it was just a small moment. Like having enough saved for a specific purchase or knowing you could handle a minor repair. How did that feel in your body, in your mind? Hold on to that feeling. Now, commit to working towards cultivating that feeling consistently. What's one small step you can take this week to bring a little more control and peace of mind into your finances? Maybe it's looking at your bank account without fear, or spending 15 minutes reviewing your budget. This one shift in focus, from chasing numbers to cultivating control, can change everything. Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, right here on Earned Flow Zone. Ever feel like navigating your finances is less like building wealth and more like playing whack-a-mole with your money? One moment you're crushing it, the next, an unexpected bill or impulse purchase pops up, setting you back. It's enough to make anyone throw their hands up and say, "Forget it, I'll just wing it." But what if winging it is exactly what's keeping you stuck? We're cutting through the noise, the misconceptions, and those sneaky little habits that drain your potential, both financially and personally. This isn't about quick fixes. It's about building a foundation, brick by intentional brick. It's about shifting from feeling controlled by your money to confidently controlling your money. If you're tired of the guessing game and ready for a structured, empowered approach to your money and your life, you're in the right place. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, boosting this valuable info to others who need it. Drop a comment with where you're watching from, or your biggest money habit win you've had recently, whether it's finally setting a budget or resisting that impulse buy. Seriously, sharing helps build this community. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. All right, let's tackle a big one that trips up so many people. The idea that taking control of your money means saying goodbye to all fun forever. People often believe that becoming financially disciplined is synonymous with a life of severe deprivation, like being stuck on a diet of water and plain rice while everyone else is feasting. This is a massive myth we need to bust wide open. The truth is, gaining control isn't about deprivation. It's about intentionality. When you take ownership of your spending, you're not cutting out joy. You're cutting out waste to make room for the joy that truly matters to you. Think of it like training for a marathon versus just jogging aimlessly. Both involve running, but one has a clear goal, a planned route, and targeted efforts. You sacrifice the late-night pizza, waste, not because pizza is evil, but to perform better on race day. Intentional goal. The same principle applies to your money. You identify the wasteful, often unconscious spending. Those subscriptions you never use, like that gym membership you pay for just to feel guilty. The daily coffees you barely taste because you're scrolling social media. Or the impulse buys that lose their appeal as soon as you get home. Seriously, who needs another novelty mug? I think I have enough for a small cafe now, thanks to unconscious spending. By consciously reducing these, you create space, financial breathing room, specifically to allocate funds towards things that genuinely light you up and align with your values. Consider this relatable example. Perhaps traveling the world, or even just taking a yearly trip to your favorite beach, is a high priority for you. When you operate on autopilot, money leaks away in all directions. And by the time vacation rolls around, there's nothing left but wishing. But when you take ownership, you shift your focus. You analyze where your money is going and actively decide where you want it to go. You identify specific areas to save, like cutting down on those unused subscriptions. There's the novelty mug fund. Reducing dining out from 4 times a week to 2, or packing your lunch more often. These aren't arbitrary cuts. They are strategic moves specifically designed to free up money so you can intentionally budget for travel. The surprising insight here is profound. Spending money intentionally on experiences or items that truly align with your values feels exponentially more satisfying and fulfilling than scattered, unconscious spending. That consciously saved-for trip feels earned and guilt-free. That new guitar you budgeted for brings daily joy because you chose it over a month of forgettable impulse buys. You get so much more bang for your buck. In terms of happiness and fulfillment when you are deliberate, it's less about how much you spend and more about how you spend it and why. This one shift from unconscious reaction to conscious intention can change everything. Ask yourself, what's one thing you truly value? An experience, a hobby, a future goal? Now, brainstorm one small change you could make in your current spending habits today to free up money specifically for that valued thing. So, as we start to wind down this session, let's reflect on the core truth we've uncovered today. Financial control isn't a cage of deprivation. It's the key to freedom and intentional joy. It's the difference between being a leaf blown around by the winds of impulse and external pressures, and being the captain of your own ship, steering deliberately towards your chosen destination. The big takeaway is this: when you consciously decide where your money goes, you elevate spending from a simple transaction to an act of value alignment. The potential long-term benefit of this shift is enormous. You don't just build a healthier bank balance, you build a more fulfilling life, free from the nagging guilt of wasted money and filled with the satisfaction of achieving goals that truly matter to you. It's a deeper insight into discipline itself, that it's not about scarcity, but about smart allocation of resources, your money, your time, your energy, towards what you cherish most. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the pathway to getting what you really want. It's about understanding that every dollar you don't spend unconsciously is a dollar you can spend intentionally on building the life you desire. Taking ownership of your finances is ultimately an act of self-respect, a declaration that your goals and values are worth fighting for, worth planning for. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around. So here's the core principle we've been building towards, and it might surprise you because it's not about complex spreadsheets or even the size of your paycheck right now. Mastering your money, stepping into that earn flow zone, isn't about magic or a six-figure salary appearing overnight. It's about taking radical, conscious ownership of where you stand. It's the fundamental shift from feeling tossed around by financial chaos to holding the steering wheel of control. Think of it like trying to get fit without ever looking at your scale or tracking what you eat. You might work out hard, but without knowing your starting point or where your fuel, or lack thereof, is coming from, you're just guessing. People often underestimate the sheer power of simply knowing. If you ignore this foundational lesson, this radical ownership, you risk staying trapped in that draining cycle of anxiety, perpetually living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much your income grows. You'll constantly be reacting to unexpected financial emergencies, always feeling behind and watching opportunities slip away because you lack the stable financial foundation needed to seize them decisively. You'll always feel like you're just surviving, never truly thriving, building momentum or making progress that feels significant. You'll remain a passenger in your own financial life, subject to the unpredictable whims of circumstance, rather than empowered by the force of your own intentional decisions. But here's the truth. It absolutely doesn't have to be this way. You possess the inherent power to change this trajectory, starting right now. The most important step in any journey, especially this one towards financial freedom, is always the very first one. It's the one that breaks the inertia, that stops the drifting and starts the deliberate movement. It builds that crucial initial momentum. The beauty of this first step? It's small, it's specific, and critically, it's entirely within your control, regardless of your current income level or debt situation. Forget everything else for a moment. Seriously. Don't worry about aggressive investing strategies, optimizing saving percentages, or deciphering retirement accounts yet. That's all downstream. Your mission, should you choose to accept the challenge of radical ownership today, is astonishingly simple, maybe even deceptively so. For just the next 3 days, track every single dollar you spend, every coffee, every subscription renewal, every unexpected parking ticket, every grocery bill. Write it down on a notepad, snap a picture of receipts, use a simple tracking app on your phone, whatever method works for you and that you'll actually stick to. The goal is just to see where it goes. This seemingly small act is your foundation being laid. This is taking control by gathering the data. This is the single most powerful, insightful, and transformative first step into the earn flow zone. It's the flashlight showing you the path forward. Try this for 3 days. Meticulously track every penny. Don't judge it, just observe. This one habit, temporary as it is, changed everything for me and countless others. It's often a surprising fact that the most effective wealth builders aren't necessarily income wizards, but spending detectives. Ask yourself, what resistance am I feeling to just looking at the numbers for 3 measly days? Because that resistance is often what's truly stopping you from gaining control.